An update on how many people tuned in to watch AEW Collision on TNT this past weekend, as we have the overnights but not the full ratings just yet, but it could give an indication as to the ratings numbers and viewership numbers for the premiere episode of AEW Collision on TNT. Where was Ace Steel this weekend? We know he wasn't backstage, but was he actually at the United Center for the premiere episode of AEW Collision? Details on that, plus Chris Hero reportedly was backstage working in a creative / producer capacity for AEW, but reportedly he's already been doing work for the Ring of Honor brand as well. An update on the rules for this AEW Tag Team Tournament that's going to be kicking off Wednesday on TBS. An AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door documentary is currently available, and Sky Blue comments on her victory at AEW Collision. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're not going to know the full ratings for AEW Collision on TNT until tomorrow. They're going to be released there. We're going to have some final numbers when it comes to the viewership numbers and key demographic numbers for the premiere episode from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois this past Saturday on TNT. But some interesting information to kick off today's show with, and that is the overnight ratings. Now, the overnights, again, can be not a full picture of actually the full numbers. A lot of the time the numbers can go up, they can go down, but they can give a good indicator of which direction, or a good at least ballpark figure of how many people tuned in to watch the show. Now, according to Andrew Zarian on the latest episode of Fightful Overbooks In the Weeds, according to Andrew Zarian, and again, this isn't totally confirmed stuff, this is just information that's coming from Andrew Zarian, he is reporting that the overnight viewership number for AEW Collision's premiere episode from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois on TNT this past Saturday is 814,000 overnight viewers. Now, just for a bit of comparison here, last week's episode of AEW Dynamite on TBS, the final viewership number for that show was 832,000 viewers. Now, the expectation is that this will be above 814,000 viewers, so the expectation is that most likely the premiere episode of AEW Collision is going to draw more viewers than this past week's episode of AEW Dynamite on TBS. Now, you could say this is expected because it's the first episode of a brand new series, so there is going to be interest. As far as it doing 1 million viewers, probably looks unlikely. But then again, AEW Dynamite struggles to do 1 million viewers at the moment. So the question is, and the question that I will pose to you until we get this final and confirmed information tomorrow, with this 814,000 overnight viewers, the question is, what do you think the final number is going to be? Does that mean we're going to be getting closer to a 900,000 viewers? Are we going to be getting closer to, let's say, an 850,000 viewers? Are we going to see a number that beats AEW Dynamite as well? And is that a good number for the premiere episode on a Saturday night on TNT? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Again, we don't have a ton of extra information and details about that right now, but I did want to bring you that number because, again, it's certainly interesting, and again, it's going to generate, certainly, I think, a lot of conversation. Now that the first episode of AEW Collision is in the history books, Backstage reaction has also been revealed to the show, in addition to those overnight numbers. The first episode of AEW Collision aired on June 17 and featured a fiery promo from CM Punk and a title changing hands. With analysis of the numbers showing that AEW Collision was a well-searched term among fans, the Backstage reaction was also quite high on the product. According to PW Insider, their sources reported it was very positive across the board backstage. It was also felt that the show had, quote, hit the mark in trying to feel different to Dynamite, although there has been a reporting of a roster split between AEW Dynamite and Collision. Tony Khan, the AEW president, CEO, general manager, and head of creative, has recently revealed it's not a separate roster, with rivalries carrying over between shows. Now, what's next for CM Punk? Well, he is due to appear on the June 21st episode of AEW Dynamite in Chicago, with the Elite appearing in pre-taped segments. Having been called counterfeit Bucks during CM Punk's promo, the Young Bucks did respond on social media, which we covered yesterday. Andrade also made his presence felt on AEW Collision using the figure 8 during his match and apologizing to Charlotte Flair after the match. So the question, I suppose, is what are your reactions to AEW Collision? What are your thoughts on those overnight numbers? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. And as I mentioned earlier on, tomorrow when we do get those final numbers out, we'll let you know here on the channel what they are, and you can make up your decision on them and share your opinions as always. Speaking of CM Punk, Ace Steel has been a name that's been talked about a lot when it comes to AEW Collision, being that he's CM Punk's friend. He was a name that was part of the Brawl Out last year after AEW All Out. He was also fired by AEW, but now he's back with the company. Whilst Ace Steel may have not been backstage for the debut of AEW Collision this past Saturday, that doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't around at all. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, he was at the United Center, taking it all in from the Chicago Blackhawks family box. Johnson reiterated that, to his knowledge, Steele was not backstage before the show started either. The debut of Collision didn't simply mark the beginning of a brand new Saturday night show for AEW, it also served as the return of CM Punk, who hadn't been seen since last September at AEW All Out. His longtime friend, Steele, was fired from the promotion last October for his actions during Brawl Out, which included allegedly throwing a chair at Nick Jackson and biting Kenny Omega. To this day, he was the only one fired following the backstage brawl that also included Punk and the Young Bucks. That said, Steele appears to be back with AEW to assist creatively and help with production. It's also been reported that he'll be aiding Punk in his storylines. However, regardless of the work he'll be doing for Tony Khan's promotion, it is believed Steele will be working from home remotely. A native of Chicago himself, though, he decided to travel to Collision this past Saturday on his own. Upon being rehired by AEW, CM Punk was seemingly pulled from the press release hyping up Collision by Warner Bros. Discovery last month. In the weeks since everything on that end seems to be hammered out. Before being hired by Khan, Steele wrestled in Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Noah, and WWE before also working as a coach/producer for WWE as well. Now, one name that was backstage, as I mentioned this past weekend in Chicago, was Chris Hero, but apparently it's not the first time he's been backstage at a Tony Khan-owned promotion. Following the reports that stated Chris Hero was backstage at AEW Collision, PW Insider has learned that he was on hand to produce matches for Ring of Honor, which was being taped beforehand. This included him being on the headset for several encounters, including the Chicago Street Fight main event between Athena and Kira Hogan. Furthermore, Hero is expected to be around for the next few weeks. He had been brought in after getting suggested by some of the other producers, tapping into his experience and knowledge. Still, he has not been brought into the company in an official capacity as of right now. It remains unclear whether or not Hero will be involved in the forthcoming AEW shows, or if he'll just be used for Ring of Honor, a company he previously worked for as an in-ring talent. Right now, it also remains to be seen if Hero will receive any in-ring opportunities, but other people with backstage roles, such as QT Marshall, have been able to pull off double duty during their time with the promotion. Hero himself, though, he hasn't actually wrestled a match since 2020, when he competed in a Battle Royal on the NXT UK roster. However, he has previously insisted that he is not retired from in-ring competition, meaning he could potentially be open to some wrestling opportunities. Of course, Hero does have a long history with AEW and Ring of Honor star Claudio Castagnoli, with the two being a successful tag team known as the Kings of Wrestling. Together, the duo held the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, among other titles. In addition to that, he has a long history with CM Punk as well, so there are plenty of names on the AEW roster that, if indeed he returned to in-ring competition, he could face off against. Now, this coming week on AEW Dynamite, we're going to see a tournament that's confused a few people. On the Wednesday, June 21st episode of AEW Dynamite, a tournament is taking place with a shot at an AEW championship on the line. AEW made the announcement on their official Twitter account revealing that a blind eliminator tournament will be taking place for a shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championships currently held by FTR. Although the AEW Twitter account didn't explain what or how the tournament would work, they did ask for suggestions as to which teams fans feel deserve the opportunity. This lack of information was noted in a number of comments, with one fan asking, are they going to wrestle blindfolded? Well, Andrew Zarian of the Wrestling Observer and the Mat Men podcast has provided details of what a blind eliminator tournament is based on his sources, saying, quote, from what I've heard, this is basically Lethal Lottery. Now, Lethal Lottery was a WCW concept in which wrestlers were put into teams for a random draw, leading to a Battle Bowl Battle Royal. It was introduced at Starrcade in December 1991 and would be a concept that TNA would use for the Joker's Wild in 2013. Essentially, it's kind of strange bedfellows. You get a lot of the time teams that people never thought of, or enemies teaming up together. It's a situation like that. The winning pair in each team would go on to the Battle Bowl, or for TNA, the Joker's Wild Battle Royal, and I guess they're going to be getting a shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championship. So that's kind of the direction that we're going in with that one. Now, Jay White, he might have been on the losing team in the inaugural main event for AEW Collision, but he isn't allowing the result to slow down his momentum. Instead, he issued a warning to the current AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR in a post-match interview on AEW social media following Saturday's show. Quote, Dax, Cash, be very careful what you do with those championship bouts. Be very careful where you wave them, he said. See, you wave them in front of our faces and they're mighty tantalizing. Everything we touch, everything I touch turns to gold. And if we want to touch, if Bullet Club Gold wants to touch the AEW Tag Team division, it will turn into gold for the Bang Bang Gang. White went on to warn that the situation will end with FTR lying down looking up to the sky while the Bang Bang Gang hold their guns up high, clearly setting their sights on the titles. This Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, as I mentioned, we're going to see this blind eliminator tournament. Given the circumstances and rules, it looks unlikely the Bullet Club Gold is going to be involved. FTR weren't the only people White was vocal about though, as he also took a shot at their friend CM Punk. The two men have been rumoured to feud against each other, and White's comments teased the possibility of a potential rivalry coming to fruition. Finally, you got your moment with the catalyst of professional wrestling, White said. I still haven't gotten to thank you from you for having this stage to return in the first place. So Jay White may be planting the seeds for a potential CM Punk feud with the leader of Bullet Club Gold in the future. Now, coming up this weekend, of course, it's New Japan and AEW's Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and New Japan Pro Wrestling has released a 34-minute documentary about the AEW New Japan Forbidden Door event in 2022, and it's free for a limited time. With Forbidden Door 2 taking place on Sunday, June 25th at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, this is a great time to reflect on the first co-produced pay-per-view. Previously, Tony Khan has discussed the challenges leading into the first show, but described it as awesome despite the changes that needed to be made. New Japan Pro Wrestling's Rocky Romero has also spoken about the challenges of formatting a card for Forbidden Door, taking into account the needs of both companies. Now fans can look back at the event from behind the scenes with comments from the likes of Chris Jericho, Sting, Shingo Takagi, FTR, Clark Connors, Tony Schiavone, William Regal, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. The documentary is available to watch on YouTube, but only until June 26 at 11:59 p.m., that being Japanese time, or 10:59 a.m., that being Eastern time as well. So if you want to go watch that documentary, you can go watch it on their YouTube channel as well. Definitely worth a watch, particularly with Forbidden Door 2 coming up this weekend. Finally, Sky Blue, of course, she was featured front and center on AEW Collision this week. Chicago played host to the premiere episode of AEW Collision, and while Windy City native CM Punk made waves with his first promo in the company since September of last year, another Chicagoland wrestler made an impact on the Saturday night program. Sky Blue took to Instagram to reflect on Saturday's event. If you would have told 17-year-old trainee Sky that at age 23 she would pin Ruby Soho on the debut of AEW Collision in a sold-out United Center in my hometown of Chicago, and my ass quite literally broke the internet, Blue wrote, I would have never believed you. Blue teamed with Willow Nightingale in a winning effort over the Outcasts. In the aforementioned Instagram post, Blue noted that she still can't quite wrap her head around the monumental night. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to show the world who Sky Blue really is, Blue continued, and I can't wait to keep making you all proud. Blue goes on to profess her love for pro wrestling, saying she hopes to wrestle until she's 85, when she hopes she'll be still trying to bump and wrestle to put smiles on everyone's faces. Saturday's win continues a streak of professional wrestling and personal highlights for the young star, who not only got a win in the United Center, but is also cozying up to United Empire member Kyle Fletcher as of late. Blue officially signed with the company in April after making a number of well-received appearances. She recently challenged the AEW for the AEW Women's World Championship, Toni Storm, in a match that, despite her loss, turned many heads. So maybe her hot streak will continue in AEW, particularly on the Collision brand. But there you go, guys. This latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.